We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "Oh me, oh life."
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you are. If you're tuned in, this is Friends, Fans, and Artists Meet. I am your humble and gracious host, Daniel Mauliquist. I am always doing the most, but today I'm going to do the least. I would allow the engagement that we're about to have to do all the talking. I'm excited to present to you a friend of mine. She goes by the name of Dzyadzorm, Dzya, Dzorm, Dzyadzorm. You can find her on most social media platforms with the same name. I have known Dzyadzorm for a good minute, and yet I'd say that I know very little about her. And so on this quest of trying to figure out the substantial things that are in my life, I realized that she is one of the few people, an artist that I admire. I'm a fan of her work. And so I decided to share her work with you today, and hopefully, we can make it do what it does. So, without much I say or do, I will get on with it. Dzyadzorm is a brilliant and remarkable poet who lives in Accra. If you Google her name, there are two sources that have a brief on her. Nubuke Foundation, who wrote a brief profile about her when she was part of a group exhibition, and IUB, IUBZ.wordpress.com, who is also a curator, wrote a brief about her. And all this text pointed to the fact that she is an activist. She's worked within the space of women empowerment, and the pursuit of liberation when it comes to the woman within the context of the African context or Ghanaian context. At that, she's a Ghanaian-Liberian, and has been doing this for a while now. The pieces that I would play from her actually come from like 8 years ago. That is how 8-9 years ago. And my encounter with her came through a halakasa, which is basically where spoken word for me really came to life in Ghana. So I'm really excited to really share her work with you. The beautiful thing about her work also is that there's like a rich versatility that comes in the form of her ability to weave complex and simple language, so that then carries her message across so beautifully and effortlessly. And I love that about the way she performs. Like, you'd hear her perform on stage, and there is the inflections in her voice will tell you directly what her emotions are. Even if she's reading the piece off of a book or paper, she embodies it. Unlike most people who, people write and it becomes performative in a way but she actually embodies the way she presents her poetry, and that is one of the things that I really admire about her art. And so, without much I say, I will say this: let's really, go on a ride with her through this pieces that she has. You can find them on different music platforms. But this one I'm going to be playing from SoundCloud, so we can like just all vibe to it.
Before humoring it in distasteful chatter, let me remind you that war is no joking matter. War is thinking of home with such piercing pain that the nothingness of a stranger's place, found in the strangest of places, appeals to the numbing emptiness that provides the only room for rest. It is the seen but unspoken evil refugees and the stranded many carry heavy on their chest, praying to whatever they can bring themselves to believe in that it should never again manifest. War is what breaks a man's soul, when he does the most questionable just to exercise what little control he has over a situation that draws his family to its knees. It's a woman whose dignity is stolen even in the discomfort of her abode, so her entire family sees. How does she heal herself in time to teach her little girl who suffered the same episode before she begins to see herself as nothing more than just a wet hole? War takes the penis of a barely teenage boy out of its hands and puts a gun in its stead, so in his head, a finger on the trigger is how to masturbate. War is these ugly truths told to you straight without much room to exaggerate. It is no specific targets of gunshots and indiscreet slaughtering in the streets. In Sierra Leone, they ignored pleas and grease before they cleaved arms like branches of trees and blood dripped down helplessly like leaves. The dismemberment of another flesh and blood was reduced to the levity of long or short sleeves. Rwanda saw 800,000 killed within a span of 100 days. That's 8,000 humans a day, 333 an hour. 6 lives devoured a minute worsens the taste of what's already sour, all in the name of so-called power. The falling rain itself became a reminder to the people of Liberia that they were under attack. In 1990, the heavens cries met gunpowder in the sky, so when they poured down, the water was black. There are media footages from DR Congo, Sierra Leone, all publicly accessible, but remember, not all the details were archived. Many of us will go deprived of the sordid reality lived by many of those who survived. All die, be lie to the living. When you're given the displeasure of seeing the spirit of your loved one escape him, and the emotion you first feel is hatred before you get a chance to mourn, and know that war knows no age, so even babies fall victims before they're born. War is missing fathers, sisters, brothers, mothers, lovers, all better off assumed dead, because your soul is just too weary for hope to beget. War is me, 25. 17 years after my family got out alive, convincing myself that the object that flew unrecognized by my eye wasn't a bullet, the one I believed I had seen. 8 years old, trapped in my neighbor's tight room with steel doors because that was our definition of a safe haven. Rebels a few years older than me trapping 24 of us due to our fear of what they could do with an AK-47. That kind of fear grows with a child's imagination, so there's no telling of what's real and unreal regardless of what truth is revealed. Truth is what I saw, my mind told me my eyes saw. War is me still too scared or angry at the nightmare to ask what we were fighting for. Wars are the singular deconstruction of a people with no therapy to their tragedy. It is a sadist feast of rape, cannibalism, abuse, and everything tragic. The human comparison to the ugliness of the foretold black magic. War brings out the evil side of evil, and it's its own justification of immorality. The sensitivity of this issue is paralyzing without a doubt. So please, before you make light of this, know that war is nothing to joke about.
If you didn't feel that, I don't know what you're going through, and I really hope that you are able to get out the other end of whatever battles that you are personally going through, so that you can like really empathize with the situation that is war that she speaks about, because we've all seen it through media, and sometimes it is just crazy in the way that these things happen. So that is War from Dzyadzorm, and we'll launch straight into another one. This one is titled Hush. Very contrast to the one we just heard, but also a piece about one's battle internally. We're all like constantly battling the world at large externally, but internal battles that we have to like fight, sometimes we are unable to articulate it. But this is a beautiful way that she articulates this process that most people are going through, one way or the other, one form or the other. And so hush, please. Hush, Dzyadzorm.
She said she wanted to do things to me that I normally wouldn't.
So?
I mean, she was a girl like me, so really I shouldn't.
Wow.
Right?
Alright.
Or couldn't I just for once ignore my golden rule and play it cool?
Okay.
But who was I to ask? My girls who tried to school me and boys who just drew.
Yeah.
So I was caught in a pool of my own sexuality, confused why her touch did not dissuade me from her advances, but rather left me amused.
Wow.
I would barely even call that a touch. It was like the hairs on our skin slightly brushed and desire shot through me like a wildfire, building within a fever I've only known a man to inspire. What was I to make of this? What to become of forbidden lips gently pressed against mine? Soft, wet, just one kiss. If men had bragged of the sweetness of this and likened it to a virgin surrendering her chase, then what was to deny me a taste? Furious at the uncertainty, yet curious still at the thrill of the reality of her standing just a breath away. Unable to heal how I was beginning to feel the emotions tumbled in a cartwheel, and there my lips pierced, gently met hers. And then silence. Dead silence. Rhythm no more to my heart's beat. Thoughts fleet. Meaning no more to discreet as tongues greet. Silent excitement and sinful indulgence, she did as I pleased and with ease brought imagination to life. The men had been right, she was that sweet. One girl I would never forget. One secret I vowed to never confess. Fenced safely in my conscience that when all lies still I sit quietly and think of her, and that one chance we never took again. I think of her and then silence.
Silence. This is a beautiful piece and it speaks for itself. And so the whole goal is for you to like stream the songs, get in touch with her. And I hope that one day I would be able to get on this platform just to be able to engage her brilliance in a way for us to both, for us all to be able to dive into her amazing work. So yeah, and the third one, the last and final one, is titled Stay, produced by Queso from Tema.
It was in the middle of your palm where I sat, flat on the path that led your fate line through that of your heart. I sat there unafraid of being squashed by clenched fists aimed at a sordid past. I knew then I had to trust your hands to be gentle. You never played safe, but somehow you taught them to find the safe haven between manly and sentimental. You have fast become the man I dreamed to be my last. So where the hell do you think you're going? Tell me if we fought way too many times to fight one more time. If we haven't sniffed up enough of these love poems to snort one more line. Stay and let's be simple, but not the kind of simple that's synonymous with common. It's the kind that turns even the dullest night into blinking episodes of awesome. I had visions from every time we spoke of forever. The first was him. The second was her. Mini me and mini you summed into a premeditated foursome, making so much damn sense like something clever. So don't go sever those sculptures yet. Our goal was never now. The eternity we planned for never had the face of today. With all this bickering over PDA, why is that girl tweeting at you and text messages that never came? It's 11:41. I sent you a hey boo at 9:09. I can see you're online, but you still haven't gotten back. Now what's up with that? That which has us jealous at illusions, furious over drawn conclusions, till the sight almost pitiful. It started to look near impossible, but there's still no reason to go. We have yet to reach beautiful. It's the diamond beneath the rough, shoved under all this stuff, tucked somewhere between I can't let you go when I've had enough. Caught somewhere behind our immaturity, impatience, and those waking moments we chose to stay asleep. Why won't you keep digging with me? We've only scratched away the surface in search of worthiness in something deep. And what I don't, third parties always seem to know. Now, I've always been a fan of the inspirational things that help the spirit grow, but I'm about to bitch slap the next person who tells me if you love him, let him go. You see, loneliness can be that unwarranted mess that happens when unsheltered minds chant anonymous scolds out of context. Let him go to where? When I fought to get him here, to let him in here. Battles with myself and God and these jagbin stalk tall walls crawling with demons. They try climbing away with my self-worth, perseverance and forgiveness, and the actuality that I'm only human and human just like him. And sometimes we forget. So it's never been beneath me to remind him that the sun comes back up after it sets, but it never really leaves anyway, so stay. These floors will wander and keep asking where your feet went. Stay. It may sound exaggerated incredibly, but our names were etched together in heaven's registry. Escaping now will be like both our times here were never spent. Stay. I still have images of you hidden within the tunnels of my quill. They spill to fill these lines and sketches of days we spent molding tomorrows out of now. Stay, keep reading to my rhymes. Stay, you promised me an eyeful of the Eiffel and Egypt sphinxes and pyramids. There's a map full of places to go and things to do that we never did. Stay, I'm used to loving you, should never be forced into I used to love you. Stay, like you asked when it was me who tried to walk away. Stay, like you cried when my goodbye shook you in an aftershock and you begged that I cling to you like an afterthought. Stay, like your lips instruct on those mornings you remember that my hips were made to bury you in between and my chest heaves to carry every moment of where you are and where you've been. Stay, cause Sean Legend put my heart in a song when all of me came on and I sang 4 minutes and 29 seconds more reasons to stay on. Stay, people are tired of sad laugh poems. Stay, we're all just desperately searching for hope. Stay, until poetry runs out of soul and music no longer has sound and flowers don't become a reason the heavens kiss the ground. Stay, while time redesigns are ugly and we're found gorgeous, until our beauty becomes obvious and we no longer need reminding because we never forget. Forever is the reason why we met in the first place. Love is the reason why it stays, so stay.
Look, for me, I leave that at that and hope that you will go and stream the sound and be able to like dissect it and engage it as much as I have. I am super stoked and super elated, very excited about rediscovering her work, not taking for granted, you know, the fact that I knew her in person, but just from a fan point of view, I decided to go look for her work again, you know, look for it and get to know it again. And so I hope that, you know, you get the chance and the opportunity to be able to do that as well. And thank you very much for sticking and staying, for tuning in to Friends, Fans, and Artists Meet. I am your humble and gracious host, Daniel Mauliquist. I'm always doing the most, but I said today, I'm going to do the least. Have a lovely day, and we will do more of this. Peace.